Good morning, Vinyl community. It's Martin here with a response for Brandon, Mr. Hall of Fame, 6,000 subscribers. Congratulations on 6,000 subscribers. I wanted to enter the contest not for the prizes, just because I thought the questions were really good and because you do good videos and you deserve all your subscribers. So I'm a bit tired. I've come off a long shift. So without further ado, I will crack on and then have something to eat. Right. Songs that scare or freak you out with weird feelings. Right. Okay. This is a U-boat that I went on, and it's a horrible sort of claustrophobic feeling being on one of these. Even for like 20 minutes, I thought. So this isn't the original, but this is U96 Das Boot. Have you ever had a bad acid trip? This album feels like a bad acid trip, but it's really good. It's called Revelation. It's on Neuronium. That's the Spanish ambient band, I think. Some of the titles are a bit scary. Devil Times, Revelation, Stonehenge, The Triangle, Walking Across the Garden of Your Minds. Yeah. Right. Most stressful part of the collecting process is, and I've written, not being able to go somewhere, like a shop, where you know or you think there may be something there just waiting for you. Whether that's just an album in the rack that you've seen and you want to go back and get, or just somewhere where you go and you know there's a good chance that it's gonna be a fruitful visit and somebody else might get there before you. 3 songs that have played a significant part of your life. Right. This isn't the same version that everybody would show, but on my wedding day, our wedding day, that is, we had All You Need Is Love, and this is a compilation, jazz compilation of Beatles songs, and there is All You Need Is Love. Love is all you need. The second song. I had my first ever mate's holiday. I was 17, and it was the days when you had a car with just a cassette player in it. And we were in 2 cars in South Wales. I went down with a mate, the others went in the other car. And when we went out in the car, one of the only albums that was in this car was REM Out of Time. So I still have a little bit of a love-hate relationship with this album. Maybe it was beyond the holiday, maybe. Well, this was it broke them, this album, but it also sort of, I suppose you could say it got overplayed a bit. Overkilled. It probably had 4 or 5 hits on it as well. But just constantly hearing this, it sort of overdid it a bit for me, to be honest with you. Right, now the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click up what I wrote, which I have on my blog. I can't see you now. The last album that reminds me of a significant part of my life is going to a youth group. Here it is. I will read out what I've written. Okay. So this album is this album here. They Might Be Giants Flood, the gatefold one. Right, and I will read out what I've written anyway. The youth group I went to around 1990 were a pretty zany bunch. Every once in a while there was a disco where usually I was blown out on the slow dance front. Still now, I don't like. I've had the time of my life from Dirty Dancing due to the fact that, let's call him Paul G, got to snog Susie H, and I didn't. What better way to forget this and be a bit laddish and energetically dispose of those 18-year-old hormones than to pogo stick dance up and down to Birdhouse in Your Soul, the novelty top 10 hit for They Might Be Giants from the Two Johns. I suppose I should explain to Americans that in UK they had this one big hit and that was it, pretty much. Who invented this vertical movement, I hear you ask? I cannot remember. Suffice to say, it gets more difficult to perform for the whole 3 minutes as the years go by. So I made a calculated guess and went to buy the album Flood from my local record emporium, got it home, and was initially disappointed that the other songs were not, in my opinion, as good. So I tried to take it back, saying that it's not any good. That didn't work. Next, I sent my mum back, armed with a receipt and a story it skips and jumps. Therefore, I'd want my money back. Now, I remember this record shop, it only had the same people in it, so they would have known that nobody else would have brought it back. No, that didn't work. So I was stuck with this weirdo album for freaks that didn't get girls. But eventually I did. I grew into the album, and over the years have gone back to it as an old friend. Not a racist one, like the album track. That's called what's it called? That's just called Your Racist Friend. Yeah. I mean, as you know, if you know this album, it's got about 20 tracks on it or something. Yeah, some of them are just slow growers with the listeners' ears. There really are some odd little ditties on it, maybe even only a couple of minutes long, but it flows remarkably well into one stream of oddballness. Later I found more oddball bands from the USA like King Missile, which inspired some truly woeful poetry of my own, albeit with less use of drugs from myself. Going back to Flood, in the track Twisting, they refer to the Young Fresh Fellows song that led me to like them too. So if you want to geek out with accordions, non-dance based samples, and you can't find a dirty dancer, in the meantime, this will flood your memory bank for years to come, which reminds me of the video where we stole the pogo dance. So that's just a bit of a insight into that particular album. So that was the 3 albums, significant events in my life. Next was places to go or I've been to. Right, 5 here, I think. Okay, Manic Street Preachers, Everything Must Go, and the track Elvis Impersonator Blackpool Pier. I've not seen Elvis. Well, I have seen an Elvis impersonator, and actually he was that bad. He was actually just miming as well. But I have been to Blackpool Pier. Yeah. And there's a track on here called Australia, but I have not been there, and I have no particular desire to go to Australia. Frankie Goes to Hollywood, Liverpool. Liverpool, the Cavern Club, and the album Liverpool. Frankie Goes to Hollywood, and I would have to say, really, the best 2 tracks are the first 2 tracks, Warriors of the Wasteland and Rage Hard. Well, I think the first side is pretty strong. Number 4. Alright, now this is a place where I drive past on my way to work. Here. And it's a lovely textured wallpaper. And here is the inside. And I will not tell you any more about that yet. What it is, for example. And lastly, I've not been to America. Quite like to go to America, I think. And I had to have a record with America written on the front of it. Coming up now. There we go. KLF. America, what time is love? I don't know, but it's 9:15. And this album as well, one of my favourite albums, I think, entirely. KLF Chill Out. I mean, it's a very British scene on the cover, but the actual album is very much like a sort of journey road trip across America, or what I presume it would be like. Oh, there was one more place that I've been to. Sorry, here's me looking a little bit stupid there in a sentry box. And here is 12-inch of To Cut a Long Story Short by Spandau Ballet. So I've been to Spandau prison near Berlin. Yeah. Okay. And asked two people about music. Asked two people about music what their 3 favourite tracks are. So I asked somebody that I used to work with many moons ago, and he said his 3 things that sprung to mind first were Pink Moon, Nick Drake, which I have nothing of him, and American Recordings, Johnny Cash. I guess he means the whole canon of it, not just a particular album, and Alice in Chains, Dirt. I have another album by them. I have one of the Johnny Cash albums. And the other person I asked, who is my wife's cousin's husband, who's very musical and lives in Finland. He said a Finnish rapper who I've never heard of, who is new, called Mercedes Benso. So like a play on words on Benz. It's Bentso, I think. He also said his Amsterdam EP by himself, and Skunk Anansi Post Orgasmic Chill. I don't have anything by them, but I did see them once live, and she spat, from what I remember, in a very small venue that I went to see her at with a mate. So, Mr. Hall of Fame, I hope those are good answers. I will put this in your link or whatever. Thanks for watching, and catch you soon. Cheers. Oh, you wanted to see the room tour, didn't you? Yeah. Well, there's not much to see really. There's 4 cubes there. Then that's my record box there for our record show this morning. What we're going to do. Then there's 4x2 there, with a record deck on top of one of them, and then the amplifier with the wires hanging down in the middle, and a multi-CD player, which we don't use that often. And then that's just like a normal living room there. So that's it really. It's got to be that doesn't really deserve an entry, does it? I've just lifted up the computer and shown you around a bit. Anyway, there's another room upstairs with some, shall we just say, stuff in it. But there's nothing to play music up there. Okay, that's it. Just count that as one entry if you want to. I don't mind. Okay, cheers. Bye.